So there's this invisible leak in your workflow right now. Like every single time you open a new AI chat, you are probably bleeding time and money and, well, computing power without even realizing it.
Yeah, it's happening constantly.
Right. And I mean, we all know that every single token we feed into an AI and every token it generates back, it eats into our context window budget.
Exactly.
But what most people don't realize is how this phenomenon, called the daily reset, is just quietly devouring that budget before they even ask their very first real question.
Yeah, before you even get to the actual work.
Exactly. So today's deep dive is really about plugging that leak. We're extracting this masterclass in token efficiency that was actually originally developed for high-stakes construction professionals.
Which is fascinating, by the way.
It is, because these are people managing massive infrastructure projects where, miscommunications literally cost millions of dollars.
Right. And the beauty of looking at heavy industry like that is that the sheer scale of it forces efficiency.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because whether you are coordinating a massive flotation integrity project at a mining site or honestly just trying to manage a chaotic inbox and a few marketing campaigns, the principle we are unpacking today is identical.
Okay.
It all comes down to a very simple, very powerful mantra. Don't repeat yourself. Encode it once. Use it everywhere.
And encode it once, use it everywhere. I really love the utility of that.
It's clean.
It is. So our mission today is to uncover how to stop wasting your resources by constantly re-explaining things to your AI. Because for you, the listener, someone who's already utilizing these tools to avoid information overload.
Which is why you're here.
Right. For you, mastering this kind of token efficiency is like the ultimate cheat code. It's the shortcut to scaling up your workflows without getting hit by these massive hidden costs.
Yeah, because every single token costs money, and it eats up your context window budget.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to figure out how to save these tokens, we first have to understand exactly how we're throwing them away.
Yeah, and the daily reset is a trap almost every single user falls into, primarily because it feels like natural human behavior,
How so?
Well, we naturally introduce ourselves. Let's look at a specific real-world example from industrial contracting to kind of see the problem.
Okay, lay it on me.
So imagine a really busy contract administrator. Every time they open a new chat window to draft a notice or, say, summarize a meeting, they start by typing a preamble to set the stage.
Right, like giving the AI background.
Exactly. They write something along the lines of, I'm a contract administrator at KFIR working on the FIP project at BHP Olympic Dam under the AS 4000 standard. Please help me draft this or that.
Man, it's like having a brilliant new intern start every single morning, and you have to spend the first hour of your day just explaining what company you work for.
Yes.
And like what your title is and who your clients are before they can draft a single email for you.
It's completely inefficient.
It sounds exhausting when you frame it like that, but I do have to push back a little here just to play devil's advocate.
Sure, go for it.
Is a 50-word preamble really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things? I mean, I type faster than I think sometimes.
Most of us do.
Right. So firing off 2 sentences takes me maybe 15 seconds. It almost acts as a mental warm-up for the actual prompt.
I get that. And, in isolation, those 50 words feel like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
The danger really lies in the compound effect of that repetition.
Okay.
Let's break down the actual math of that mental warm-up. Let's assume that preamble is between, say, 50 and 100 words.
Pretty standard.
Right. Now, if you are actively integrating AI into your workflow, you're probably running 5 to 10 separate sessions a day.
At least, yeah.
So over the course of a typical working month, you are looking at roughly 200 sessions. Multiply that out. You are feeding the model 10,000 to 20,000 words of purely repetitive context every single month.
Wow. That escalated quickly.
It really does. And field data actually shows this kind of repetition accounts for 30 to 40% of total token usage for some professionals.
Wait, really? 40%?
Up to 40%, yeah. And you are paying for those 20,000 words. And worse, the AI is actively having to process, weigh, and hold those exact same 20,000 words in its working memory over and over again.
So it's basically wasting its brain power.
Exactly. You are artificially shrinking your available context window for the actual complex task you wanted to perform.
Oh, okay. I see.
So the solution to the daily reset is creating what we call persistent context.
Which brings us to the concept of the standing brief.
Yes.
Because once we realize that typing out who we are every day is burning through our budget and our context window, we obviously need a mechanism to make the AI permanently remember our macro-level identity.
Right, and we achieve that through something called a company context document.
Okay, what does that look like?
Well, it isn't just a rough, sprawling collection of notes you keep in a messy folder somewhere. It is a single, highly structured text file, and it acts as the absolute foundation for every project and every skill you run.
So it's super organized.
Incredibly organized.
Yeah.
It needs to be comprehensive, but also incredibly tight. You outline the company name, the business type, your specific role, and your core areas of expertise.
Got it.
Crucially, you must explicitly state the standards you work under. Like, remember that AS 4000 1997 standard from the construction example?
Yeah.
You put that in there, along with your preferred output formats, your typical clients, and your standing instructions.
You know, that KFIR example paints such a vivid picture of how to do this correctly.
It's a great baseline.
Yeah, because the document clearly states, like, KFIR is an industrial services contractor specializing in insulation, scaffolding, and painting in Australia.
Very specific.
Super specific. And then it lists the heavy-hitting clients, BHP, Glencore, Woodside. But I think the smartest tactical move in that document is how it handles formatting.
Oh, absolutely. The formatting rules are key.
Yeah, it explicitly defines that all formal notices must use a letterhead format, and all registers must be generated in a tabular format with very specific columns like date, reference, description, status, and owner.
And defining those columns in the standing brief is just a massive efficiency multiplier.
How so?
Because by establishing that tabular structure at the macro level, you never again have to type, please format this output as a table and make sure to include columns for the status and the owner.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that saves so much time.
Exactly. The model inherently adopts that operational standard as its baseline behavior for your entire account.
That's amazing.
It essentially stops acting like a generic text generator and starts acting like a trained employee who actually knows your company style guide.
Okay, let me ask a logistical question here because I want to make sure you, the listener, can actually implement this without accidentally creating a totally new problem.
Sure. What's the concern?
Well, if I'm feeding the AI this highly detailed, massive company document, doesn't that contradict the whole idea of saving tokens? Aren't I just giving it more words to read every single time I ask it to do something?
That's a great question. But that assumes you are pasting this document into the chat window for every new conversation.
Which would defeat the purpose.
Which would completely defeat the purpose, yeah. Modern workflows operate differently. You actually embed this single document into a system prompt or a custom skill configuration, depending on whatever platform you're using.
Oh, so it sits behind the scenes, totally separated from the normal user chat.
Preloaded into the model's behavior, exactly.
Oh, okay.
The system prompt dictates the AI's persona and baseline constraints before it ever even processes your daily user prompt. So by loading your company context document there just once, you establish that permanent standing brief.
So it just automatically knows.
Right. You aren't wasting prompt space in the user interface anymore. You are fundamentally upgrading the AI's baseline intelligence about your specific professional ecosystem.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because a broad company identity is fantastic, it's incredibly helpful that the AI permanently knows you handle scaffolding for BHP in Australia and, that you like your tables formatted a certain way.
Sure, the macro level is great.
But day-to-day work is chaotic. It's hyper-specific. We have to bridge the gap between that macro company identity and the micro reality of whatever messy project is currently sitting on your desk.
And that bridge is the project context snippet.
The snippet, right?
Yeah. If the company context document is your permanent foundation, the project context snippet is the highly modular, hyper-specific layer that goes directly on top of it.
Okay.
We're talking about a ruthless 200 to 300 word summary that supplements your main standing brief.
Being ruthless with 200 words is difficult. What exactly makes the cut when real estate is that tight?
You only include the variables that directly impact decision-making and tone.
Okay, like what?
The parties involved, the contract sum, the key delivery dates, the current phase of the project, and most importantly, the active disputes and your current focus areas.
The drama.
Exactly, the drama.
The example of the FIP, the Flotation Integrity Project for BHP Olympic Dam, is just perfect for this.
It really highlights it.
It does. It notes the start and completion dates and that they are in the execution phase for structural steel and piping. But the final section of that snippet is just pure gold.
The active issues part.
Yes. It explicitly states active issues, an extension of time claim pending for structural steel delays, a back charge dispute with SA Engineering program, 3 weeks behind baseline.
Right.
It's like giving your AI the previously on recap at the start of a prestige TV show. It instantly knows the tension, the characters, and the absolute stakes of the episode.
And that previously on recap prevents the model from making catastrophic tone errors.
Tone errors.
Yeah, think about what happens if you ask a generic, context-blind AI to draft an email to a subcontractor about a late steel delivery.
Oh, it's usually way too nice.
Right. The model leans toward polite, accommodating language. It's going to write something cheerful and optimistic.
Which is the absolute last thing you want to send if you are actively fighting a back charge dispute and are 3 weeks behind schedule.
Exact.
Sending a cheerful email in that scenario could literally legally undermine your position.
Precisely. But when that project context snippet is active, the AI factors in the 3 weeks behind and the extension of time claim.
So it adjusts.
Completely. The resulting draft will be firm, urgent, and it'll probably reference contractual obligations automatically. The tone matches the reality of the ground conditions.
That is so powerful.
It is. You have essentially transformed a generic language model into a highly focused, project-aware collaborator, and you did it using only 300 words.
But of course, you aren't just sending one email, right? You are executing hundreds of tasks a month using these tools.
Sure.
We have the permanent company document. We have the modular project snippet. What happens when we combine these tools with heavy daily usage? Let's talk about the economics of scale here.
Yeah, the financial implications of token management become totally impossible to ignore once you start scaling. We can actually compare two distinct operational styles to see this.
Okay, let's hear it.
First, let's look at a disciplined, concise workflow. You have a 200-word system, prompt handling your context. You write a focused 500-word task instruction.
Sounds reasonable.
And to provide reference material, you extract and paste a 300-word relevant clause from a contract.
So roughly 1,000 tokens for that specific interaction.
Exactly.
And if you run that, say, 200 times a month, the computing cost is totally negligible. It's highly efficient.
But then we have the bloated workflow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. This is the user who doesn't respect context limits. They write a rambling, disorganized 2,000-word system prompt trying to cover every possible scenario.
We all been there.
Right. And instead of extracting that 300-word relevant clause, they take the entire 5,000-word legal contract and just dump it directly into the chat.
Oh.
Yeah, so you are suddenly looking at 7,000 tokens per conversation. Multiply that by 200 sessions, and you are burning 1.4 million tokens a month. You are paying 10 times more for the exact same email draft.
Yeah, let me challenge this workflow from a purely human perspective, though.
Okay.
I am busy. Isn't it objectively easier for me to hit select all, copy the 5,000-word contract, and just dump it into the chat?
It feels easier, sure.
Right. Why should I spend 5 minutes of my own time reading through a dense PDF just to extract a 300-word section? Doesn't the manual extraction kind of defeat the entire purpose of having an AI to save me time?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it feels like a time saver in the moment, but you are actually actively sabotaging your own results.
How so?
Dumping 5,000 words into the context window doesn't just cost 10 times more, it degrades the AI's reasoning capability.
Because it's too much information.
Yes. Language models use attention mechanisms to weigh the relevance of the text you provide.
Oh.
When you dump an entire contract, you are massively diluting that attention.
It's like asking someone to find a needle in a haystack. But first, dumping 3 more haystacks into the room just to be safe.
That is the perfect analogy. The AI has to evaluate all 5,000 words. It might accidentally latch onto a minor indemnity clause on page 42 that shares keywords with your prompt.
Oh, and then it gets confused.
Completely skewing the output away from the actual task you wanted. By spending just 2 minutes finding the relevant 300-word extract, you hyper-focus the model's attention mechanism.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. A disciplined context window yields a cheaper output, but far more importantly, it yields a drastically sharper, more accurate output.
Okay, so extraction over dumping is a crucial scaling strategy. And there are other vital strategies for keeping this math in check as your usage grows, right?
Yes, definitely.
For instance, being highly strategic about model selection, because not every task requires the most advanced, expensive model available.
Not at all. Using a heavy, complex reasoning model to format a basic table or summarize a polite email thread is, well, it's like renting a supercomputer to do basic arithmetic.
Right. Totally overkill.
The fast, lightweight models are practically free and incredibly fast. You should route high-volume, low-complexity tasks to the fast models and save your expensive reasoning models for complex logic puzzles or deep contractual analysis.
That makes total sense. Another silent killer of token budgets is the zombie chat thread.
Oh, yes. The never-ending chat.
Yeah. If you keep the same conversation window open for 3 weeks, asking new questions every day, the AI has to reread and reprocess the entire 3-week history of that conversation every single time you hit enter.
It's a huge waste. Archiving is essential.
Just close it out.
Once a specific task is complete, close the thread. Start fresh. A clean slate protects your context window and stops that exponential token burn that happens when a thread just gets way too long.
Which leads us to the ultimate enforcement mechanism. How do we actually catch ourselves making these million token mistakes before they become deeply ingrained habits?
Right, you need a system.
And the answer is a 30-minute monthly token audit.
Yes. This is a foundational habit for anyone who is serious about optimizing their workflow.
How does it work?
Once a month, you open your platform's dashboard and you export your usage report. You sort the data to find your top 5 heaviest conversations by token count.
The top 5 fattiest, most bloated threads of the month.
Exactly. You review those specific 5 logs and diagnose the bloat.
Like a post-mortem.
Yes. You ask yourself, why did this simple task burn 15,000 tokens? Did the user dump a 50-page PDF when they only needed 1 paragraph?
Or was the system prompt just unnecessarily long?
Exactly.
Right.
Did we leave a chat thread open for 2 weeks? Trimming a sprawling 2,000-word prompt down to a crisp 500 words saves you 300,000 tokens a month.
That's huge.
Implementing this 30-minute review reliably identifies a 20 to 30% reduction in overall token usage.
So what does this all mean? I want to ask you this directly because I think it gets to the heart of how we view these tools. Is the ultimate goal of the monthly audit just to be cheap? Like, are we just trying to squeeze pennies out of a software subscription budget? Or does this strict, rigorous token auditing actually make the AI a better partner?
It absolutely makes it a better partner. Constraints breed clarity.
I like that.
When you force yourself to sit down for 30 minutes a month and actively audit your prompts, you are forced to be incredibly honest about what context actually matters to your job.
Right.
When you trim the fat from a bloated system prompt, you aren't just saving compute costs. You are sharpening your own instructions. You are clarifying your own operational thinking.
Because if you're confused, the AI is confused.
Exactly. Clear, precise thinking is the only way to get sharp, accurate outputs.
That is a phenomenal reframe. It's not just an accounting exercise, it's an intellectual one.
It really is.
Let's recap the core takeaways for you, our listener, so you can immediately stop the invisible leak in your own workflow. First, stop the daily reset. Repetitive preambles are burning your budget and diluting your context window.
They absolutely are.
Second, build persistent context. Create a structured company context document to serve as your permanent standing brief. Third, use hyper-specific 200-word project snippets to give the model the previously on drama it needs to understand your current reality.
Fourth, fiercely protect your context window. Extract the relevant text. Never dump massive unread documents into the chat.
No more haystacks.
Exactly. And finally, implement that 30-minute monthly audit. Find your top 5 heaviest conversations, diagnose the bloat, and refine your approach.
It really is the blueprint for mastering AI at scale. And as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, one that turns the lens back on your own workflow.
Think about that 200-word project snippet. If you had to perfectly encode your own professional context right now, your current projects, your active disputes, the specific things you are currently 3 weeks behind, on into just a few hundred words, what would it reveal to you about how predictably or chaotically you actually work?
Oh man, that is brilliant. Because if you can't summarize the chaos of your own desk in 300 words, how can you really expect a language model to help you navigate it?
Exactly.
That is absolutely something to reflect on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into token efficiency and persistent context.
It's been great.
Remember the golden rule of scaling your workflow. Don't repeat yourself, encode it once. Use it everywhere. We will catch you next time.